The history of the toothbrush intro music fades in and out. Take a look at this. It's a simple object, something you probably used this morning without a second thought, but sits in a cup on your bathroom counter and you'll use it again tonight before you go to bed. It's the toothbrush, and it feels so ordinary, so much a part of modern life, that it seems like it's always been there, but it hasn't. This small, simple tool has a surprisingly long and fascinating history. It's a story that stretches back thousands of years across continents and cultures. It's a story about human ingenuity, our changing relationship with health and hygiene, and the slow, steady evolution of an idea. Before this modern piece of plastic and nylon existed, people used frayed sticks, rough cloths, bird feathers, and even porcupine quills to clean their teeth. The journey from a simple chew stick to the electric toothbrush in your bathroom is more than just a history of an object. It's a reflection of how we see ourselves, how we learn to fight decay, value a clean smile, and turn a simple act of cleaning into a daily ritual of self-care. So, how did we get here? What did people use to fight the universal problem of dirty teeth before the toothbrush was invented? And how did a luxury item, once made with bone handles and boar bristles, become something found in nearly every home on the planet? Today, we're telling the story of the toothbrush. Transition to understand why the toothbrush was even necessary. We have to go back to a time before dentists, before fluoride, and before any real understanding of what caused teeth to rot. For our ancestors, your teeth weren't just for eating. They were a measure of your health, your strength, and even your social standing. Losing your teeth wasn't just an inconvenience. It could be a death sentence. In a world without processed foods and refined sugar, the human diet was tougher on teeth in some ways and gentler in others. The food was coarse and abrasive, which helped to scrub surfaces clean. But without proper cleaning, food particles would still get stuck, bacteria would still build up, and painful abscesses and infections were common. An infected tooth in ancient Rome or medieval Europe could easily lead to a systemic infection, and with no antibiotics, that was often fatal. So, from the very beginning, people were looking for ways to keep their teeth clean. They just had to get creative. The earliest tool we know of is the chew stick. Archaeologists have found evidence of these in ancient Babylonia, dating back to 3500 BC, and they were also widely used in ancient Egypt. A chew stick was exactly what it sounds like, a small twig or root, usually from a plant with antiseptic or aromatic properties. You'd chew on one end until the fibers frayed, creating a primitive, brush-like surface. You could then use that frayed end to scrub your teeth. The other end was often sharpened to a point, acting as a toothpick to clean between teeth. This wasn't a random stick from the ground. Different cultures chose their chew sticks carefully. In the Middle East and parts of Africa and Asia, the Salvadora persica tree, known as the toothbrush tree, was and still is very popular. Its twigs, called a miswak, have natural antimicrobial properties that help fight plaque and gingivitis. The World Health Organization has even acknowledged its effectiveness. For thousands of years, the chew stick was the dominant form of dental care. It was cheap, it was effective, and it was completely natural. But this still wasn't the toothbrush we know today. The real revolution required a new idea: bristles. The first bristle toothbrush is believed to have been invented in China during the Tang Dynasty, around the 9th century. But it wasn't for the masses. It was a luxury item for the emperor and the elite. These early brushes were made from a handle of bone or bamboo. Drilled into the handle were bristles taken from the back of a Siberian wild boar's neck. The cold climate made the boar's hair stiffer and more durable. Imagine that for a moment, a brush made of bone and pig hair. It was a huge leap forward in design, but it had its problems. Animal bristles were expensive. They didn't dry well, they would often fall out, and they were a perfect breeding ground for bacteria. Travelers and merchants eventually brought this idea from China to Europe in the 17th and 18th centuries, but it was slow to catch on. Most Europeans were still cleaning their teeth the old way by rubbing them with a rough linen cloth, sometimes with salt or soot as an abrasive. The bristled toothbrush remained a rare, expensive item for the wealthy. One of the first people to mass-produce toothbrushes was an Englishman named William Otis. The story goes that in 1780, while in prison for rioting, he grew tired of using a cloth with soot and salt. He took a small animal bone left over from a meal, drilled holes in it, and got some bristles from a guard. He tied the bristles into tufts, threaded them through the holes, and sealed them with glue. After his release, he started a business manufacturing these brushes, and the company he founded, Wisdom Toothbrushes, still exists today. Otis's design became the template for the modern toothbrush, but it was still made from animal parts, bone handles, and boar bristles. Throughout the 19th and early 20th centuries, this was the standard, but the animal bristles remained a problem. They were harsh on the gums and unhygienic. The real shift, the one that made the toothbrush a truly modern and accessible tool, came from a laboratory. In 1938, the chemical company DuPont, which had invented nylon in 1935, released the first toothbrush with nylon bristles. Called it Dr. West's Miracle Tuft Toothbrush. Nylon changed everything. It was cheaper to produce, its stiffness could be controlled, it was more hygienic than animal hair, and it dried faster. This was the moment the toothbrush could finally become a mass-market product. But a new brush wasn't enough. The habit had to change too. In the early 20th century, very few Americans brushed their teeth daily. It was the soldiers returning from World War II who brought the habit home. The U.S. Army had enforced daily brushing for its soldiers, and when they returned to civilian life, they brought the routine with them. This, combined with post-war advertising campaigns, helped cement toothbrushing as a normal part of American daily life. And the innovation didn't stop. The next major leap came in 1954 with the first electric toothbrush, the Broxident, invented in Switzerland. It was originally created for patients with limited motor skills and for those with braces. Early models were clunky and had to be plugged into a wall outlet. It wasn't until the 1960s, when the first cordless, rechargeable model was introduced, that the electric toothbrush started to gain wider appeal. Today, the toothbrush is a marvel of design and material science. We have brushes with angled heads, ergonomic handles, flexible necks, and bristles of varying textures and lengths. We have brushes designed for sensitive teeth, for whitening, for gum care. The electric toothbrush has evolved too, with sonic vibrations, pressure sensors, and even Bluetooth connectivity to track your brushing habits on an app. So, why does this long history matter? Because the story of the toothbrush is the story of a simple, universal human need. It shows how an everyday object can reflect huge shifts in science, technology, and culture. The move from a chew stick to a nylon brush mirrors our journey from relying on nature to mastering synthetic materials. The rise of daily brushing shows a fundamental shift in our understanding of health and the importance of preventative care. This small tool helped democratize dental hygiene, took oral care from a luxury of the rich, and made it an accessible, daily practice for everyone. It has prevented countless cavities, saved millions from the pain of tooth decay, and allowed us to keep our natural teeth for far longer than our ancestors ever could. The toothbrush is a quiet hero of public health. It's a tool so effective, so simple, and so ingrained in our lives that we forget how revolutionary it once was. Conclusion: so the next time you pick up your toothbrush, take a moment to look at it. Think of the thousands of years of history it represents. Think of the Babylonian chewing on a frayed stick, the Chinese emperor with his boar bristle brush, and the soldier who brought the habit of daily brushing to the modern world. You're holding a piece of history in your hand. A simple tool that connects you to a long line of humans who all wanted the same thing: a clean, healthy mouth. And in a world of complex problems, there's something reassuring about that. Thanks for watching. If you found this story interesting, please consider subscribing for more histories of everyday objects. Outro music fades in.